In this video, we take you boondocking, sharing our favorite tips for dry camping and how to set up camp.
And we show you our favorite boondocking spot, a 100,000-acre wilderness in northern Michigan known as the Big Wild. Come on along.
Now, we're expected to spend several days boondocking, so I am filling up my freshwater tank. And the one thing I want to stress about that, when you do fill up your freshwater tank, water weighs about 3.79 pounds per gallon. So you figure out what your capacity is, but it's pretty easy to add about 350 pounds to your weight, to your vehicle weight. So you want to take that into consideration. Normally we don't travel with a full water tank, but since we're going up to the wilderness and we're going to be boondocking, I want to have it filled right up. Okay, we have filled it up, and here are all of my my readings. You can see the fresh water's full, gray is empty, black is basically empty, and I have about 51% of my LP gas. That's enough to last me for a long time. You know, we'll probably get about 5 or 6 days on the black tank, about the same on the gray, and about the same on the freshwater. That's generally been our rule, and that's with us taking showers and washing dishes, and I use the water for my coffee because I filter it real well. So top it off when you're going to go boondocking so you don't have to worry while you're out there.
There are two types of dry camping. The first is mooch docking, where you go to a friend's or a relative's driveway or somewhere on their property and spend the night. The other is going to a Walmart or maybe a Cracker Barrel parking lot and spending the night there. We don't consider either of those as real boondocking.
So we're all agreed that Walmart and Cracker Barrel, that's really not boondocking. The next level, though, of dry camping can be construed as boondocking, and it has two different styles. The first style is usually known as primitive camping. And what that is a place with no hookups, but it is a designated campsite, typically in a state forest or a federal forest. And you'll have maybe a picnic table and a fire pit, but it is dry camping. That can be construed as boondocking, and that's, as we said, the first style of real boondocking.
Primitive is one term people use for what we just showed you, but here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, it's rustic campground.
Primitive or rustic camping usually has a small fee attached to it, maybe $10 to $15. There's usually a little self-pay station there. But the ultimate form of dry camping, boondocking, is known as dispersed camping. And that means finding a wilderness area and just setting up camp wherever you can get your RV. You don't want to destroy anything when you want to go in. You don't want to hack down trees, but there's lots of little areas, little clearings, little meadows and forests and wilderness areas where you can set up camp. And that is just awesome. You often will have to have a permit, and we usually print out some blank ones from whatever region we're in. You get them from the Bureau of Land Management or from the U.S. Forest Service or the local DNR office. And speaking of that DNR office, we always think it's really a good idea to go visit there.
We're in Michigan, the tip of the mid area, going to a place called the Big Wilds.
And Big Wild it is. It is 100,000 acres in size. It's the Pigeon River State Forest area. There's a huge elk herd here, and we can't wait to do some camping.
There's lots of boondocking places up here.
It's all it is boondocking. There's no comforting spots with electricity and water. You bring your own in, but you are in the middle of the Big Wild.
And in the middle of a lot of elk.
So one thing that we always recommend is when you are in an area that has boondocking, dispersed camping, is you find the headquarters and go in and talk to the folks there. They'll be able to give you some pretty good ideas of spots that you may not have known even existed. So I'm going to mask up and I'll go in and see what I can find out. So remember that camp registration card I showed you that we printed out? You can also get them at the headquarters building. And something else that you'll often find, like here's a list of some of the better places to camp that you necessarily wouldn't find if you didn't stop at headquarters. This is good. This is really good.
And what I can't help but notice, we're here in September, and they have a snow shovel by the door. Ah.
Yes.
It's
coming. It's coming. Well, this is great. And look, there's a map as well.
Great.
These are sinkhole lakes all around in here. Pretty neat. And big area. All right, so we are, I don't know how far, we're way back in the middle of this big wild country here. And we're now looking for a boondocking spot. This is the first time we've taken this off-road like this in a forest trail. And the secret's just going slow. You not only have to watch the ruts in the road, you have to watch overhead for low-hanging trees as well. And you don't want to scrape up the sides of your vehicle, right?
Right. Stop. Stop.
Smoke up. All right. This looks great, huh?
It looks perfect.
Yeah. We are in the big wild.
Certainly are.
And this is our spot in paradise. The truth of the matter is, setting up for boondocking or dispersed camping is really no different than setting up at a campground. Actually, it's a little easier because there's nothing to hook up. You don't have any electrical cables or water hoses to run. All you want to do is get on a reasonably level spot and you are good to go.
When you're dispersed camping in a motorhome and you go off and you want that same spot, investing in a sign like this is a good idea. No guarantee the sign isn't going to develop legs and walk off, but it's an attempt to hold that spot for you. Now, if you're backpacking, obviously you don't have to worry about a sign. There's a million places out there where you can spend the night, but in a motorhome, this is a good idea. Every time we show this, people say, "Where did you get it?" We bought it at an RV show, but I'm sure you can find something online or you can make your own.
Boondocking is great, but you don't have a lot of control over the ground. Like, this is all dirt. So we always carry a mat like this, and you're able to wipe off the dirt. You can see it's getting pretty messy, but much better to leave the dirt out there than inside the motorhome.
Should have had you do this part. Oh, I gotta keep going?
Until water comes out.
Hey, there's the water boat. You want a little drink of well water? Yeah, this is reminding me of going to my grandpa's. He had a cabin up in the middle of the woods, and this is how we got our water. We went outside. We had the vault toilets that were called an outhouse then, and this is how we got our water. But even when you're camping with dispersed camping, usually you can find a well. Almost 99.9% of the time, you can find a way to get water. This is one of the primitive campgrounds, and they almost always have a source of water, a well.
So like Jen said, you can always find a water pump in a state forest. And if you do run out of water, fresh water, that's where these come in handy. These are really nice little water containers. This one will hold 5 gallons. And you just would take the top off, put it under the spigot and pump, and you can fill that up. The way I would use this is I have a siphon hose that will, at the RV, that will let me then siphon this into the fresh water tank. So you can always keep topping that off 5 gallons at a time. That's not a bad idea.
And the good thing is that means that you can siphon that into your RV and turn on the heater and have a warm shower if you so desire.
Yeah, or you could be really tough and you could hang it upside down. See these little brackets? These got little brass brackets. You could hang it like that and stand underneath it. Might be a little cold, but you can do
better
that.
Find a real boondocking place.
Yeah, so this is 5 gallons. They have a gallon size, and that's not bad for water. You can, again, hang it on a tree or someplace outside.
Not too heavy to carry, a gallon.
Heavy. And then they even have one if you're going to go on a little hike. There's a little one like that that you can fill up and take with it. The nice thing about these is they fold up really small, and we keep them in the RV, and that way pretty much always, even if we can't get to a hose to fill up our freshwater tank, we can do it with these bags. One of the surprising frustrations that we experienced was on our last camping trip. It was kind of rainy out there. We decided we'd cook some bacon inside the RV, and that's what we used. Just used our little twin burner, and it was cooking up the bacon, and then all of a sudden, beep, 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 the darn smoke detector went off. And there it is, right there. And it was a real problem. We basically had to get all the top off of it and try and get the battery off. And it was just crazy. And it was beeping so loud. People came from, 100 yards around to see, what's the matter with you guys? You guys okay? And it was kind of embarrassing, actually. So I told that story on our podcast, or one of our live show streams on YouTube. I don't remember which, but some of our listeners called and gave us a couple of ideas, and it has to do with this, a new smoke detector. And this one is from Code One. It only costs like $14 at Home Depot. And the thing that is so good about this is that it has this front load door, which means that I can easily open that door. It will pop down, the battery will become disconnected, and if it starts beeping like that when I'm cooking bacon or something for breakfast, I can just shut it up and leave it like that until the bacon's cooked, the smoke is gone, then I can hook it back up. So we're going to install that. All right, it is all installed. Let me show you what it looks like in there. It fit great. See how it fit right in this little opening? And that's not bad. I'll put a link to it. It's available at Home Depot, Amazon, most of the big box stores. But it's a great solution, and to that problem of what you do when it starts beeping when you're cooking and you want to turn it off. It was almost impossible with the old one. You had to wrestle the cover off. The battery was hard to get out. This one is so easy. I'm going to show it to Jen, and you can see too. Hey Jen, I got the new smoke detector in.
Great. It looks just like the other one.
Yeah, it fits right in there, but this is a little different. So if it starts beeping again and you don't want it to beep,
okay,
just go right up here and see
push,
that push
right there. Just give it a push. That disconnects the battery. Oh, that is going to save our ears. And Bo says, thank you. What a great invention. Why didn't we have one of these years ago?
Hey, this is your test.
3 pieces of sausage without really doing anything in this dish pan. And so the test on opening this up, and it is disengaged. I'm not going to have that dreadful noise. Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you for that great idea. Everybody needs one. You are. Actually, the person that told you about it, they deserve a special reward.
I think that's
everybody
our friend Tander.
Buster. Everybody needs this. Everybody needs this.
So test it working.
It's great.
All right.
I mean, this is not a crisis.
3 bacons, but that's a good smoke detector. It works.
It's a good smoke detector. It's doing its job. A little too well for me. All right. Let's get this sausage warmed up a little bit. Everybody's going to know how mean I am. I get 1, you get 2.
Now,
And,
everybody knows that you like to cook on an electric skillet.
I like to cook on my electric skillet, but because we're boondocking, I don't want to use that much energy. Just for me, I keep my butter in a little bag in the refrigerator. That's just what I do. I'm sure other people have a better system, but that's my system. Also, my eggs, I put a rubber band around them so it doesn't pop open, because that's just too big of a mess.
Somehow I think experience has taught you that.
Yeah, it has. So we've got these simple little breakfast lengths, and we're going to have some egg too.
And out there, look at that. The
Out
wilderness.
there, a lot of trees and bushes and things. Turn this down a little bit.
And propane uses very little energy to use for cooking. So we save our battery without having to use your electric skillet.
Yeah, my electric skillet would use too much energy. All right, hopefully that's not too hot, because I've been fooling around. Now that smoke detector would be going up. Oh my. Put that in there. There we go. Ah, very nice. Set it over here and let her cook.
Good morning. This is my favorite time. Shortly after sunup, in the middle of the woods, nobody around, no noise, just quiet. Listen. There's a bird. But there's no man-made noise. None. This is why we boondock. We are all by ourselves. Not bad, huh? It's going to be a good day. The question we get asked all the time when we talk about boondocking is, are you guys ever afraid? Is there ever a danger? Do you ever feel threatened? And no, we don't at all.
You have to use common sense. You get there, and if it feels right, stay. And you might have to leave. If something changes, you have to leave.
Now, we've never had any bad experiences at all boondocking.
So far, so good.
And this is 9 years, so yeah, I mean, anything could change, but man, this is pretty nice. It's pretty hard to go back to regular camping, isn't it?
It sure is. And for Bo, he's a good dog. He stays right by us. You know, he's having a good time camping too.
Now, they ask about Bo and letting him run free. We do. He's free right now. Bo is pretty well trained. He will come if we call him. But we always have a leash. Sometimes you'll see these pictures of me and I'll have the leash wrapped around my shoulders. We always have it available if we need it. But he's a good boy, and one of the things we like about boondocking, if we know the areas, we can keep him off leash too.
Come on, Bo, let's go. This is why we love the RV lifestyle. It is peaceful, it is quiet, the green and colors of nature, the blue of the sky, God's creation. It's just gorgeous out here. It's good for you.
Yeah, it's good for your soul. Now, we're not crazy backpackers anymore. And we don't do 10, 12-mile hikes, but there's so much you can do. And I don't know why so many people live such sedentary lives, because you do what you can do, right?
Right. Whatever you can do, that's what you do.
And there's a hike for everybody.
True. And Bo says, come on. Come on along is what Bo's saying.
And we do, I don't know, we did one last night. It was probably 1.5 miles, and we'll probably take a couple, 3 hikes today. We'll probably end up covering close to 5 miles by the end of it. No, it's nothing great, but it's enough to make us sleep well at night, right?
Yeah, this is peaceful. It's beautiful. Come on along. Come join us here.
Yeah. Well, don't come join us here. We don't want any crowds. It's crowded enough. Find your own piece of paradise. They weigh up to 900 pounds.
Wow.
And they say there are about 1,000 of them here in the Pigeon River State Forest.
Otherwise known as the Big Wild.
Yeah, it's the big wild because of those big guys.
Yeah, it's so great that they've got a place where they can live and be. To tell you the truth, we're a little reluctant to tell you about this place because it's getting a little crowded as it is, and as soon as we mention it, it's going to be a little more crowded.
Yeah, that's the problem. There's so many people RVing these days. But the Big Wild, as they call the Pigeon River State Forest, is so big, 100,000 acres, like we say. And there are some organized campgrounds. They're primitive. There's, vault toilets and a fire pit like this.
You get a picnic table and a fire pit.
And that's not bad, and lots of room. But as you saw, we really prefer the boondocking and the dispersed camping. And you can do that, oh my gosh, there's so many places. So I hope we didn't spoil our fishing hole, as we say. Good fishermen, they never share their fishing hole. But this is our favorite boondocking spot in all of North America, I think. We really like it.
It is nice and remote and lots of acreage up here. And if you choose this, if you're a resident of Michigan, it's $15 a night for a fire pit, little marked off spot, picnic table, vault toilet.
Yep, and that's for one of their organized campgrounds. Again, there's no electricity, there's no water, there's no dump stations. So you want to be self-contained. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching this. I want to remind you, YouTube subscribers, that we have a YouTube membership area on right here. Look under the community tab, and there's this little join button, and we'd love to have you become one of our YouTube insiders. For everybody, thank you for watching. Please give us a thumbs up on this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the RV Lifestyle channel right here on YouTube, and we'll see you down the road.
Happy trails.